Oh,
You are live.
Oh, I had to unpause it.
no. You're freaking me out here. I was wondering if my capture device decided to stop working right then and there.
I think it was Beam just being weird for me.
Like I said in the channel, the Live Gamer Portable sometimes doesn't work if you hurt its feelings.
Well, anyway, I'm good to go when you are.
All right, I'll count us down here. 3, 2, 1, go. And in case anybody doesn't know, if you hold down L and R when you start a file, that's how you play as Luigi.
Anytime
Luigi
you
doesn't. Say
yeah,
what?
Anytime you load a file, really.
Now, there isn't any difference between Mario and Luigi in this game, like Lost Levels, where Luigi jumps higher and doesn't have as much traction. It's just the audio and visual for this game.
Yeah,
Anyway, the first thing I'll be doing in this level is grabbing a star coin, and the normal route I take gets 10 of them, but I almost messed that up anyway. I was thinking any percent for a second. Anyway, I'm going to be grabbing a few extra because this is a marathon. In a normal attempt, I would be doing World 7 in one go with a mini mushroom, and if I were to die, the run would be over. So this, with interest of guaranteeing to finish the run, I'll grab a couple extra star coins for you guys. Almost got lucky. In any percent, you want that red block to be a blue shell, but in Warpless, it doesn't really matter too much. You save 2 seconds if it's a fire flower.
Yeah, basically you just wouldn't have had to grab that extra fire flower later on. But one of the main things of Warpless is obviously that you don't take the warps, and in order to do the warp you need a blue shell. So he would have needed that to be there if he were doing any percent.
Any percent kind of gets a lot of flack because of that, but this mushroom house that I'm about to go into here is another place where you can get a blue shell. I need it to take a secret exit later in World 5.
Yeah, this does cost about 17 seconds, at least on my DS. So it's a significant time cost if you do have to take these, but there are quite a few instances where you just have to.
Well, I was probably not going to go for fast cycle anyway, but I messed it up entirely, so I didn't have any chance for it.
Yeah.
So in this level, there's 3 different cycles you can get. There's the one that I'm on right now, which I just call normal cycle. It's the slowest one, but it's also the least risky. Fast cycle saves about 7 seconds, and that's where you skip waiting 1 cycle. And then the third one is known as the task cycle, which is 1 less cycle than fast. And there's only 1 person that I'm aware of that's even done it in real time.
I've gotten to, I think, the 4th jump. And that's it. Even then, it was just like, I don't even know how I got that far.
Yeah, you're looking at a couple of frame-perfect jumps, and not all of them are at maximum. They're at varying different heights, too. So it's just, aside from Coughing Rocks, I don't know anybody else who's done it. But anyway, fast cycle saves about 7 seconds, but it's pretty easy to die if you're off timing. So triple jumps are a pretty big deal in this game. They give you a little bit extra height. and oftentimes just let you do things a lot more smoothly. That was a very good example of a clean 1-4. Now in this level, I won't be able to show this to you because I'm not on a camera or anything, but when you're on these bouncing platforms, you don't even have to hold down right on the D-pad, it just goes, as long as you have the momentum for it. So during that entire part, I wasn't even holding anything on the D-pad.
Minor time save that you missed, actually. You can just run directly off that first platform and you'll get the same manipulation.
Yeah, I ended up messing it up anyway, so... There's probably going to be a few minor time saves I'll miss here and there. And because I haven't been grinding away at runs of this game lately, but... Oh my. So, speaking of random things, any percent gets a lot of flack for the blue shell, but this category takes the red block hatred to a new level by introducing the overworld movements, which you kind of get a little bit of that in any percent, but in Warpless it's very obvious. Like right there, I lost about 3 or 4 seconds just from the overworld.
The worst though is in World 8, regardless of category, if those just keep crossing the long bridge, that's more like 7 or 8 seconds I think each time.
3 or 4 seconds, something like that, though it may be slower on DS. I'm playing on Wii U Virtual Console.
Yeah, that's a brief thing to mention, but I'll talk about that in a little bit, because right now, he's actually going to kill Bowser here with fire. I think, no, I'm just going to jump over him. It's actually slightly faster to kill him because of that animation.
Mm-hmm.
It's only like 1 second or 2 seconds, though.
It's almost like we're playing different games here.
Yeah.
I actually didn't know fire was a little bit faster there.
Yeah, you can just spam fire, and that'll start get him in the lava sooner, start the animation of him doing that sooner, and the bridge animation will finish before that anyway, so it's a minor time save. You may notice that Warpless hasn't been that heavily run, so a lot of strategies are just kind of coming into the fold.
2-1's a pretty good example of how strong triple jumps are.
Oh yes, triple jumps everywhere, in 100% too. As you can see, he got all 3 coins.
I did slow down to grab the second one. Normally I don't grab that one, but that's like the last coin in the World 1 Castle. It's an extra coin that I'm picking up for the sake of Marathon. So, when you're running full speed, Lakitus are very on point with their spikes, but I'm going to slow down a little bit there. I did a spiny. I can't think of words right now. But if you slow down just a little bit, you can catch them at a point where you can not only dodge the spiny they throw, but you can kill this one with a fireball.
I'm gonna take this opportunity to see if I can pause and unpause beam and get it to act a little nicer. Because I have been getting some stuttering.
Okay. I hope it's not my capture card or anything.
Well, it could very well be beam as well, because we've had some issues with them.
It's another extra star coin I'm grabbing there. So this level here has a couple of round pounds that you can save some time with, and that last one that I messed up there is a lot more precise than it might look.
Yeah, It really is. But this is one of my favorite levels to speed run, regardless of the category.
Yeah, there have been multiple times, like right there, where I thought I was on target for it, and just visually it looks like he should have gone down, but the magic pixel kept me from going down.
But yeah, Wii U is faster in general, less lag, so there's been some effort to time without loads to compensate for that.
Okay, got a situation here.
Hmm.
Okay, we're fine. So
yeah, I see that.
There's a movement trick with I forgot to grab the coin. I should still be fine. Hope. I usually don't grab that one. Anyway, there's a movement trick with these trampolines where, similar to Sonic games, where if you let go of the D-pad, your movement is uncapped. And probably a lot of other games too, but Sonic is the one that comes to mind for that kind of thing. Let's see, I'll need to see if I can grab another star coin somewhere.
It's likely to come up again later in the run, unless it gets lucky. But the gist of it is, if you're not holding the direction you're going, the game won't decelerate you as fast. Or it won't decelerate you at all in the case of those trampolines.
By the way, Two Castle has the one and only clip in this run. It's right there. It's a pretty simple clip to get to. You just have to uncrouch when you're in the corner, and then it will just push you through the wall.
So yeah, that's how most of the bosses in this run are, but not all of them.
Yeah, the World 3 boss in particular, I could have a few choice words for it.
Yeah, we'll talk about that when you get there, though. But that fish is not nice.
So there's a really dumb strategy for this level that I'm not going to go for, but just so you guys know what it is. If you go into this level with a shell, your movement is a lot faster underwater. It's like twice as fast or something like that, maybe even faster. I don't remember the exact speed difference.
It's pretty significant, but the issue is that he would have to get a blue shell from an alternating block that you see right on the screen now, or else he'd pretty much have to reset or die to try and get it again, and then he would lose the blue shell for the remainder of the level anyway.
I think I just thought of the extra star coin I can pick up for the one I missed, so I'll be good there. Another strategy I could employ if I am short is to purposely get fireworks on a level, ending a level in 1-1, 2-2, or 3-3, because that'll spawn a mushroom house at the beginning of the world.
Yeah.
Hello, Red Block, taking my time again.
And it's actually a little bit faster to go 3-1, even if you don't have the blue shell, than it is to go 3A, just because 3A takes a pretty close to the same amount of time, but it's a little bit slower. I don't remember exactly how much.
Well, that was an interesting way to die.
Oh yeah, that's a thing you can do. Is you can jump right as you're about to get hit by an enemy, and you'll bounce off of it. That's actually a technique that's useful in some cases, but it can also take you by surprise in others.
Yeah, in my case, that was by surprise. I messed up the jump going into that, so I was expecting to take a hit, but instead I got that. And this is probably, at least early on in the run, probably one of the worst levels to die on, just because the next level is very beneficial to have fire at the start.
By the way, we just received $10 from Celsius saying, "Good luck, Alta, especially with 8-1."
Thanks, Celsius. Okay, that minor slowdown aside, we now return with our previously scheduled speed run here.
And he actually, it wouldn't have been a reset necessarily, because you can get a blue shell in this level, but it would take probably longer than a mushroom house, honestly.
Yeah. This level took me a while to figure out how to do without slowing down. Just finding a good visual cue for this triple jump here. That's a pretty good example back there of how fire just seems to work in this game, where you still hit fire, but the hitbox for the fire wasn't quite out yet, so you still take a hit, but the enemy still dies. And that tends to be a reason why most of the time when I'm using fire on enemies, I try to fire multiple ones just to make sure that I kill it. Either for that reason back there, or in many other cases, is fire bouncing over an enemy.
Yeah, and if you're wondering why he's not damage boosting through all these, it's because it's a bit more valuable to get the power up. You don't save that much time by damage boosting through most of the spikes here.
That giant thwomp back there has a very interesting hitbox. By the way, it's not what you saw there wasn't the worst I've seen it, but I've been visually completely past it and still taken a hit before. And here's this fish. I hate this fish. It's a lot of luck sometimes.
It's kinda sorta manipulable, like if you keep yourself in a certain position, and you can get a one cycle, it's just really tight, but most of the time it's going to take 2 jumps. That wasn't too bad, honestly. It can be much faster, but it can also be much, much slower.
I have lost over 30 seconds to this boss fight before. And that's, that one's better than average, at least for me, so I'll take that one any day. A little too high on that jump.
Yeah, there are strats in this level to avoid hitting the things of snow that fall out of the trees. Most of them aren't too bad, but if you mess it up just a little bit, you can either get hit by an enemy or get stuck in one of those and often get hit by an enemy because they have it set up that way in a few places in the level design.
This level up ahead is probably my favorite one to run in World 5, despite its difficulty.
Yeah,
just because it looks so good when you do it right.
it is pretty tricky though. There's a jump right at the start where he's going to duck, and that will allow him to get past this block here. Otherwise, you pretty much either have to tank a hit or get stopped.
And that went pretty well.
Now it's worth mentioning that there are two diverging routes here, but this one is actually faster. The alternate way, he could go through the alternate exit and get past this auto-scroller tower here, but he would have to take a different auto-scroller and do an extra level in addition to the total that he would have to do anyway, and it just ends up being slower.
Plus, this way also has the added benefit of a mushroom house for getting a mini mushroom, which technically slower to get it from the mushroom house, but nice for marathon safety also. In a perfect world, I would never need to grab that extra fire flower I have right there, but I don't know about you, but I make a lot of dumb mistakes in auto-scrollers sometimes, so it's nice to have that extra safety net available to me.
Oh, believe me, I know the feeling.
I die a little bit inside every time I lose time on an auto-scroller. It's like all you can do is lose time on it.
And it's possible to climb here faster, but you have to memorize everything and then execute correctly, and it's really easy to mess up. So, like you saw there, even though he didn't climb too far ahead, it's still really easy to mess up, especially at the end.
Yeah, those platforms aren't next to walls, so it and you don't really have a visual cue for it either, so you have to just do it all by feeling. So we're gonna go this way. The alternate exit to 5-2 would go to the level that's above me. All right, 5B is deceptively difficult. At least for me, it's been a level that always seems to be the comedy level in my personal bests. And this time I did it right, so.
Indeed. Nicely done.
There is a way you can get through that middle part of the level without taking the damage boost, but it's, in my experience, been pretty precise, and that's just one of those situations, like, do you go for the damage boost, which is only about a second lost, or... And I will save here. Or do you try and go for it and potentially lose more time than you would have gained? It's a little bit of risk reward right there. So you've probably noticed that I didn't go to World 4 earlier because of the diverging paths, and the way that you go to the alternate world is to finish the diverging castle level by being mini, so that's why I went and grabbed the mini mushroom out of the mushroom house there.
And right here you see him using special movement power of the blue shell, which is quite useful, but it's also a little bit slower. You can also use it to speed up a little bit by jumping constantly, but that's pretty tricky, actually. It's really easy to get hit or die when you don't want to, if you try for that.
Yeah, you'll see me unmorphing during some of those jumps because your movement speed is a little bit faster when you're not spinning in a shell.
Now, an interesting...
See,
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
PD's not giving me a favorable pattern here. Whoops. Okay.
Now, he got in the ground pound before he became mini, just so that he would get the double damage that the ground pound deals on bosses before he became mini, where you have to ground pound to deal even normal damage.
Yeah, if I were to do just a normal jump, I would just playfully bounce off of him. Save here for marathon safety.
Indeed. World 7 is really legitimately difficult.
I'd say it's harder than World 8.
Oh, easily.
And the physics, as you can see from being mini, is very interesting, to say the least. So it takes a lot of getting used to.
Now, this level is the only one that does not have multiple exits that you have to do more than once in 100% for star coins. There, in theory, is a pretty much TAS-only method to get all three, but it would involve going the way he went and then bouncing on one of those flame chomp thingies. I always forget their name. And going backwards
Escapes
through
me
the level.
too. There was a jump that I missed towards the end of it, but it's a pretty silly timing.
Yeah, I just have I go by feel on that, so I don't know, it works pretty well for me somehow. But if you miss it, you die.
Well, I missed the triple jump. That looks really cool here, but not dying is better ultimately.
Yeah, you can just wall jump up and skip this vine. You can even do it with a double jump if you either do an extra wall jump sequence or if you hold to the pretty much the exact apex of that double jump. But it's pretty tight. You have to get through those blocks pretty precisely regardless.
This is by far the hardest level in this run.
Yeah, this
Not
is
only do you have to do the entire thing as Mini, but you have to defeat Bowser Jr. Mini as well.
Yeah, because in the next level he's going to need Mini for an alt exit that is going to take him right to the castle of the world.
In case I do die, though, I do have the 5 extra star coins that'll let me go get an extra item. Missed that wall kick right there. This wall, that wall right there has a very interesting hitbox.
Yeah, pretty much the way it works is, from what I can tell, when you try to wall jump, if it's where two or more, or two item, like, whatever, walls or things you can wall jump off of intersect, the game just is like, I don't know which one he's touching, I'm not going to let him slide or wall jump. So it just makes it really precise when you're trying to do a wall jump in particular places.
I only lost 1 cycle to that, so that's not a big deal.
Now this Bowser Jr. has a mask, and that changes the nature of the boss fight, as you can see. He's timing his hits here in a precise manner. There's a short window where you can chain hits on any version of Bowser Jr. If it was the normal Bowser Jr. without the mask, he would have just been able to go right up to him and get the first hit and chain them. But with the mask, its behavior has changed a little bit.
And by the way, the timing on that is really nerve-wracking when you're mini.
Mess it up, you get
I'm
hit
actually
and die.
surprised I didn't die because I've been really inconsistent at it lately.
I'm really inconsistent at it in general. Like, that's one of the things that I've never quite gotten down, is that boss fight.
Alright. I've gotten past all of World 7 that requires the mini mushrooms, so now I can die all I want and not have to worry about marathon safety anymore.
Yeah, the only level after this that really benefits from a particular power-up that, you know, isn't fire is 8-3. And
that's the one.
That one isn't much slower without the blue shell, because it's an underwater level, but it has a whole bunch of these little things that boost you, so it's not a big deal if you don't get a shell there. It just makes it faster if you do get lucky.
Yeah, it's 10 seconds if you get it. I'm making some very interesting choices with these thwomps, but still got past them. Grabbing that fire flower is mostly for safety. Because there's another one I can grab, but having an extra one in my inventory is nice to have.
Yeah, that means if he does die, then he can just get right back to fire instead of having to work his way back up.
Well, it's going for the one cycle on this boss, at least with the strategy that I use. It has a little bit of a risk of taking a hit. So it's nice to have fire in my back pocket just in case.
Yeah, this boss it's possible to one-cycle it. There are a couple different methods. Neither of them are easy. So you can either do what he's going to do, and which is a wall jump method, or you can just do, if you watch Green Link's 100% segmented run, that's the other technique. I've done it both ways, but it's far from consistent regardless of which method you try for.
And I didn't get it, but oh my god. Okay, still have fire. Yeah, if you mess up the one cycle, you can always just ground pound him on the next one, which is just a couple seconds slower.
And now 8-1, a level which is pretty difficult but looks so good when you get it perfectly.
8-1's probably the second hardest level, at least for me, in this run. Wow. It's not often that I overshoot that first crow.
Yeah, that's actually really hard to do. You pretty much have to get, like, it's the last pixel or two that you have to jump from in order to overshoot it.
And I died just before the checkpoint, too.
Yeah, the checkpoint was literally at the top of that next, as soon as he crossed over the next platform, it would have triggered.
8-1 is striking again. I got this like 10 times in a row in practice.
It's always like that, isn't it? But yeah, the ideal 8-1, you just bounce off crows and you make this level look like a joke, which it absolutely is not.
Every little thing is just going wrong right now.
Oh,
Actually,
man.
I saved before entering this, so I'm just gonna reload the save so I can have fire. I probably should have just done that in the first place, and now I'm Mario, and that's unacceptable. So let's try that again. Okay. Alright, let's just forget the past minute or so of that. So this is 8-1. It's a hard level if you do it wrong. Almost got it perfect that time. Alright, I'll accept 270 on the second take.
Yeah, there's just one extra bounce that he would have liked to have.
Anyone who's seen me do attempts knows that 8-1 is notorious for ending runs for me. So the warpless task for this level takes a slightly different approach to it. It uses mini and goes through that pipe right there.
Yeah, they're these little pipes, just like in later New Super Mario games, where you have to be Mini Mario in order to pass through them. That one saves this section that you're seeing him do right now, and comes out in that other pipe that you saw to the left there. So it saves a little bit of time if you do it right, but there are also Goombas in there, so there's a chance that you'll just die if you take that shortcut. Much less having to do 8-1 as Mini, which is perfectly doable, but even more punishing.
Yeah, you don't even get the benefit of damage boosting through a mistake. So it's just all or nothing. Tower 1 is also a pretty difficult level to do correctly. And speaking of that, I already messed it up.
Yeah, you have to be pretty quick at the start in order to get the optimal cycle on the second long thing. Long moving platform.
I think that's the technical term for it.
Do the thing, land on the thing, jump off of the thing, don't get hit by the thing. And if you do all that right, you'll get the stuff.
Tower 1's not being kind to me right now. Okay, I was keeping an eye on the time right there because even though double digits in a castle level doesn't give you fireworks, it still spawns the mushroom house at the beginning of the world.
It's especially painful because it's not that hard to get a double time in the second tower if you're doing that without the death abuse. So that's always fun to watch it pan all the way back to the beginning of World 8.
I didn't get the blue shell for this level. It didn't even give me the opportunity to. Oftentimes I see the Hammer Brother come back to this level, and then you got, I believe it's a 1 in 3 chance or 1 in 4 to get the item that you want.
It's 1 in 4, and basically there are 5 different levels that the Red Block and the Hammer Brother can be on at any given time, so the chances are pretty low, but it still happens.
So like the trampolines back in 2A, if I let go of the D-pad when being pushed by these jet streams here, I move a lot faster for an extended period of time. So it mitigates the time lost for not having a blue shell.
Yeah, it's actually not worth hitting a mushroom house because that time loss is only about 10 seconds without the blue shell in this level, and it takes more than 10 seconds to get a blue shell from a mushroom house. Not to mention the fact that he'd have to use coins to buy his way to it. And
which I do happen to have the 5 coins that I grabbed for safety since I didn't die in World 7. But
yeah, it's still a few seconds that, you know, only increases the reason for you to skip the shell.
This level is just really annoying because of how the platforms work.
Yeah.
Something that hasn't happened to me yet is something that I like to call pixel stops.
It happens to me all the time. So often it's absurd.
So, a pixel stop in this game is where you land on the exact corner of a platform. You just lose absolutely all momentum. And this same thing can happen on platforms that move up and down if you land on it at a specific time. So, it's just really, it makes 8-4 really awkward. It didn't happen to me, thankfully. Speaking of a pixel stop, it just happened.
Yeah, so you saw his momentum just completely died there. If that happens in 8-3 in the wrong place, you can just die if you're not prepared for it.
And you never are prepared for them.
No. And if you do try to prepare for them, that usually ends up with you dying when it doesn't happen. But other categories
It's better to assume that it's not going to happen, but still keep it in the back of your mind.
Yeah, other categories have the luxury of being able to go into that level with the shell, which completely prevents that from happening because you're spinning the whole time.
You can also avoid it by crouching when you land, or doing a crouch jump, but sometimes you can lose a little bit of speed when you do that and not make the jump at all.
It's actually...
Also, you can see I delayed hitting the switch a little bit to avoid 55. I normally don't have to worry about that, but pixel stops add a little bit of unplanned chaos. So this is the bridge, which I'm already making friends with this red block here. Every time it crosses the bridge, it's 3 seconds. And the any percent record had that happen 4 times.
Now this level...
5's another really difficult level, but
yeah,
when it's done correctly, it just looks beautiful.
It's quite easy to die there. There are a bunch of different ways you can get through, some of them stomping on enemies, others not, and if you mess most of them up in particular places, there's a good chance you'll just fly into the lava.
Those 2 bridge crossings. Oh my god, I almost overshot that and died.
Yeah, when you advance the camera, the lava advances with you if it hasn't already caught up to that point. Oh, nice, first try. That wall jump to get on top of that little thing is actually really tight.
I found a pretty good visual cue for it where Luigi's hand is on the wall, and there's like a brown line in the wall that it lines up with perfectly, so I don't really have much trouble with that anymore. That's 3 times now that the block has crossed the bridge.
Marathon luck, people. It's a 50% chance each time at this point.
I wonder if I can get the perfect 5 in a row. So I'm in pretty good shape here with having a Fire Flower in reserve, going into 8-8. Because that means I am guaranteed to be able to do the damage boost in Tower 2 up ahead. And if I can keep the Fire Flower in my inventory, I save a little bit of extra time on that too. 8-8 here is notoriously random with the rocks that fall everywhere, and trying to avoid them is hard.
Yeah.
Also, if a rock
random.
Is on the same point where you spawn the block, oh jeez, well, I was hoping to finish this level being big, but such is life there.
Yeah, it's getting
It
trolled by
crossed
that
the bridge
level.
again.
It's only got one more shot to do it.
Okay. So, I don't want to talk about with what I just did there. And it just crossed the bridge again, by the way.
Okay, so... yeah.
So, this is Tower 2. I can no longer do the damage boost. At least the full part of it.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was thinking there.
Yeah, you would have been better off just waiting for the Fire Flower.
I was about a step ahead of where... My brain was a step ahead of what I was actually supposed to do.
But yeah, normally he would be Fire Mario at this point, running on the spikes, damage boosting to get to the midway point of the level faster, and then doing what you see him doing here.
The point that it was probably slower to not do the damage boost, but I still wanted to show it off anyway.
Yeah, that's fair.
Normally you would just be running through all of the spikes. And I want to say it saves about 7 seconds, I believe. It's something absurd.
It's about that, I want to say. I'd have to actually, look. I know there's a frame count on it at TAS videos, so, just math that out, but I don't remember off the top of my head.
So yeah, as I mentioned earlier, here in the run, I die a little bit inside every time I mess up an auto-scroller. Well, this time I did it during a marathon in quite spectacular fashion. All for you, the viewer, to laugh at my expense.
At least the timing on that was so good that it had to have made some people crack up, so you got that going at least.
I've messed up quite a few times on this level before, just for one reason or another, but that one's a new one to me, so that's Q, that's never happened before.
Yay for me, Luigi!
By the way, is my estimate still saying it's 50 minutes because it's still supposed to be 55? Because I'm pretty sure I'm over 50 minutes at this point.
It's at 50, and yeah, you're just reaching it right now. It's worth mentioning that 50 minutes is actually a really tight estimate for this category, especially for a marathon. I think you submitted it to AGDQ as a 52-minute estimate, was it?
55 is what I submitted it as. But yeah, if there's any indication why it should be 55 and not 50, this run's a pretty good example of why.
Now, there are a couple planned damage boosts in Bowser's Castle because you don't need to be Super or Fire to get a quick Bowser kill. There's a pretty precise strat that he's going to go for once he gets there. And it's faster to ground pound that switch out and then hit it from below just because of where you end up afterwards.
That the thwomp above you is in a nice position on top of that, so you can just run right past it.
Yeah.
So just like older Mario games, go through the area in a specific way, not that way. That's death. But
Yeah, that section is actually pretty tricky because you can just run off the previous platform. Like you saw the one he jumped over and tried to wall jump back onto. You can just run off the previous platform and onto it, but it's random whether it'll work or not, even at full speed. I'm not exactly sure what the programming logic behind that is, but you want
the
to
method
jump on
I
it.
just did is what I was intending to do.
Yeah, you want to do what he just did there instead of trusting that the game will let you land on it like you want to.
I'm just gonna die here. You know, all of the levels that I practiced just before this run are the ones that I'm not doing right, so go figure that one out. It's okay, I died on this boss during my SGDQ run too, so it's canon.
But this run doesn't have any cannons.
Please. Time. What did I get?
It was a 53-11. I hit the split just a couple seconds late because I forgot that I had clicked away from live split.
Still underestimate. At least what the estimate should have been. That run was pretty good, except for the few levels in World 8 that I was struggling through, but not too bad otherwise.
Yeah, like 8.5 through 8.7 in particular were really solid.
Yep, that's new Super Mario Brothers Warpless or Canonless, whatever you want to call it. The community calls it Canonless because the warps use cannons instead of warp pipes, but they're basically interchangeable.
Alright, and at this point, thank you for the run. We're going to switch restreamers again, going to run an ad, and we will be right back, so don't go anywhere.